Hey everybody, my name is Will and this is Idiot Proof Cooking. I make simple and easy to follow recipes that I consider are idiot proof because hey, if an idiot like me can make something, you certainly can too. And if you've seen the channel before, you know the drill. So today I'm making some honey garlic spare ribs. It's a recipe my mom taught me back when I first moved out on my own, but I can definitely say I've improved the recipe over the years, and I hope she's not watching this video when I say that. But anyways, they're absolutely delicious. They're sticky and sweet and tangy and just so good and super easy to make. So without any further ado, let's just get into making these because I think you'll really like them. Okay, so to make these ribs, we're going to have to start off with some ribs, believe it or not. So what I have here is 2 racks of pork side ribs that have been cut down the center so that they're nice and short. Now keep in mind, if you want to make this recipe with full-size ribs, you can certainly do it. It works for full-size ribs as well. I just happened to come across these short ribs in the grocery store, and that's what I decided to use for this week's video. So what we're first going to do is get ourselves a sharp knife and cut out all of the ribs individually. We don't want to roast these as a rack. We want to cook them all individually. So once that's done, you're going to have a fairly significant pile of ribs. So get yourself a roasting pan, because that's what we're going to be cooking these in, and then just proceed to throw all of your individual ribs into said roasting pan. And then once they're all in there, it's time to start adding some spice onto the ribs, starting off with some garlic powder. So I'm just going to use a couple of tablespoons worth, just enough to generously coat the ribs in the garlic powder. And then once you've added that, it's time to move on to the ground ginger. Similar to the garlic, just a couple of tablespoons just to make sure that the ribs are nice and coated in the ground ginger. And then after the ginger, we're going to add on some kosher salt, a few good pinches of that all over your ribs. And then last but not least, some freshly ground black pepper, a few good twists. You want them to be fairly decently spiced. After you've added the pepper on, we're going to just mix these all together. You want to make sure that all of the ribs are good and coated. I'm just going to use my hands to do this. Really work the spices into the ribs, and then we're just going to let them sit out for like the next half an hour to give the ribs some time to absorb all of the spices. And while they're doing that, it's time to make the honey garlic sauce for the ribs. So get yourself a large mixing bowl, and into it add a cup of chicken stock. After that, add in a half cup of soy sauce. Carefully there, Will, you don't want to spill that. Next in is a 1/4 cup of ketchup. Now you can pre-measure all of your ingredients, or you can eyeball it like me. If you want to live a little bit dangerously, you can kind of tell what a 1/4 cup is. So add the ketchup in, and then we're going to add in a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Next in is 3/4 of a cup of honey, for the honey garlic aspect of the sauce. So scrape your measuring cup out, get all that honey in, and then we're going to add in the garlic, the missing ingredient in the honey garlic sauce. Now I'm going to make this fairly garlicky, so I'm going to add in 6 cloves of freshly crushed garlic. So just crush them all in. Give your garlic mincer a scrape to get any leftovers, and then get your trusty whisk and whisk this all together. The honey's going to start off separated, so you want to give it a good whisking to make sure that the honey is mixed with the chicken stock and the soy sauce and everything else. Once you've mixed your sauce together, it's time to go get your ribs in your roasting pan and pour the sauce all over your ribs. So pour them all over, make sure that they're good and coated. Try and hit all of the ribs with your sauce. And hey, if you don't, get yourself a spatula or a wooden spoon and just mix all of the ribs in with the sauce. You want to make sure that they all, touch the sauce a little bit. From there, you're going to preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're first going to bake these for half an hour uncovered. They're going to first come out a little bit gray and kind of ugly looking, like as you can see here. They've started to get a little bit of color, but we've got a ways yet to go to make them look and taste amazing. So what I'm going to do now is just mix all the ribs in again with the sauce. You want to make sure that they're nice and covered, but to really reinforce that, I'm going to get out my turkey baster, and I'm just going to baste all of these ribs in all of the juices. We want to make sure that they're nice and covered in the juices. So do that. You can just stir them in, or if you have a turkey baster, use that. But anyways, once you've basted all the ribs, cover your roasting pan, leave the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to cook the ribs for the next hour. but every 15 minutes we're going to take the ribs out of the oven and rebaste them. So after the first 15 minutes, let's show you what they look like. As you can see, they're starting to color up a little bit more, so I'm just going to use my turkey baster and rebaste them in all of the juices, and you're going to repeat this process 3 more times for a total of 4 bastings over an hour. So pretty simple. Cover it up again, stick it back in the oven, cook it for another 15 minutes, take it out and rebaste it. Like I said, do it 4 times over an hour every 15 minutes until your ribs come out looking something like this. Oh, look at those. Those are so beautiful. Look at how sticky and gooey and rich and colorful those look. Oh man, it smells amazing. I'm so happy with how those turned out. But I am going to let them cool down for 5-10 minutes before we get into these, because they are fresh out of the oven and they are piping hot. And then after about 10 minutes, I'm just going to start plating these up because I can't wait to get into them. They smell amazing and I absolutely love ribs. I don't ever seem to get full on ribs. I can just keep eating them. I don't know if you're like that, but I'm like a bottomless pit when it comes to ribs. Look at that gorgeous close-up shot. Look at how gooey they are. Oh man, I'm so excited for these. But you know what? We're just going to add a couple of quick things here. First, we're going to add on some freshly chopped green onions for a little color. I just think it looks nice. And then last but not least, some white sesame seeds. So just add on some sesame seeds. This really for just a little contrast to make them look a little bit nicer. And I gotta say, look at how gorgeous those look. Oh man, these turned out perfectly. I couldn't have asked for a better batch. I'm so happy with how they turned out. Let me give you one final close-up of just an individual rib. Look at how gooey that looks. Oh my goodness. Oh, I can't wait to try them. And speaking of which, let's go in for the taste test. And with the first bite, let me tell you, they are fantastic. So just sweet and rich and garlicky. Just perfect all around. They're nice and gooey and the meat falls right off the bone. You can just pull all the meat off with one bite. Here, let me illustrate it for you. Let me show you. You can just pull the meat off here. So just look at that. Yeah, it just comes right off. Oh man, I love this recipe. I love making these at home because of how easy they are, and the end product are sweet, rich honey garlic ribs. So you should give these a try at home. I think you'll really like them. But anyways, that is the end of the episode. I hope you like what you saw here today. If you did, why don't you drop me a comment, like the video, or even subscribe to the channel. Thanks again for watching Idiot Proof Cooking. We'll see you again soon.